I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're listening to Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
So, on today's episode of Eating W, we're going to start with a quick rundown of the trades that have happened since today was the NFL trade deadline, and then we're going to jump right into our picks for our reactions, recap for Week 8.
Yep.
So, Callan, what are some of the trades?
So, in the middle of last week, we'll start with Mark Ingram going from the Texans back home to the team that drafted him, the New Orleans Saints. And he ended up playing on Sunday. Just dusted off his old playbook. How
Pretty
easy
much.
is that? I mean, he said it was like, putting on an old pair of shoes. So that happened, and then earlier today, Von Miller went to the Rams. Yesterday on Monday.
Yeah.
Von Miller was traded to the Rams for a second and third round pick. So that's pretty crazy with the cornerstone of that franchise getting traded out. The Rams had just traded their linebacker, Kenny Young, to the Broncos the week before. So I'm pretty sure that was all actually just one trade.
Pretty much at that point,
Yeah, and they said it was for 2 day 2 picks, which old school day 2 picks were like 4th and 5th round picks because the draft used to be 3 days long. So when I first heard that, I was like, wow. What a terrible deal. 4th and a 5th rounder but then I remembered day 2 picks now are
It still is 3 days.
or no, it used to be 2 days. My bad.
Okay.
Day 2 picks used to be 4 through 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
First day 1 was 1 through 3 and day 2 was 4 through 7. So,
Yeah, now it's
that's
just
what
1,
I meant. Yeah,
2,
now
3,
it's 1, 2,
4,
3
5,
days.
6,
Yep. So yeah, when I heard day 2 picks, I was thinking terrible value. Then it's like, oh yeah, no, it's different now.
that makes a little more
2 and a
sense at
3
that
is a
point,
little
yeah.
bit better. Yeah. So that happened. Miller's on the Rams now with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, which
Adding to that scary defense.
yeah, but you still gotta have 11. I get that's 3 big players, but those okay, I'll play against those 3 players on defense. I bet we score every time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know. It's irritating. They're asking like the Rams are so unstoppable because they have 3 stout defensive players. Like you need a whole team. You need all 11
Because they used to have good role players like Troy Hill and John Johnson, but then they
They
deal
can't
all
afford
of
them.
them
When
out,
you have
yeah.
superstars like that, you can't afford those mid-level guys. So, and then with the rest of the trades today, the last couple, there were 2 edge rushers traded. Melvin Ingram from the Steelers to the Chiefs, which is interesting because in the offseason, Melvin Ingram was deciding between the Steelers and the Chiefs. And I guess he got to pick both. So, and then the Texans traded their edge rusher, 5th round pick, Charles Omenihu, to the 49ers. Both of these were for 6th round picks, respectively. And then the last trade of the day that was just got in at the buzzer, the Chiefs and Jets traded. The Jets sent tight end Dan Brown to the Chiefs for left guard Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who is the football player that opted out last year to fight COVID in the hospitals. He has a doctorate. So, he's going to New York, and Chiefs get another tight end. So
they must have gotten some picks with that too, though, because that's a lot of value for just that tight end.
Yeah, I guess it didn't say what picks were exchanged, just players, but
Yeah, I feel like they had to get some picks.
but
for that,
yeah,
'cause
probably it probably was a switch of picks there somewhere. But most of these, were either just player for picks. That was the only player for player one, unless you count the Broncos Rams 2 day deal,
sort of deal.
Yeah.
And then to add on to the trades, there was some very sad news that came out today.
Very bad deal.
Henry Ruggs was in an accident. They did assist. The person he hit sadly died. Henry Ruggs and was it his wife or his sister?
Girlfriend.
His girlfriend.
Significant other.
Ruggs and his girlfriend had significant injuries, non-life threatening, but still
serious,
significant.
broken bones and stuff and burns and.
And it is suspected that Ruggs was intoxicated during the accident.
Unfortunately, yeah,
So
it was the timing and
we don't have much.
event of the accident.
We don't have
it's-
much news or other repercussions from it yet, but it is not looking good for Henry Ruggs. to say the
He
least.
actually just about a half hour ago was charged with a DUI I don't know how not manslaughter yet, but
DUI
with fatality or something like that, and arrested. So he is already, unfortunately, in jail. A very bad deal.
Yeah, it is not looking good for him.
Yeah.
So
just a
kind of a sad. That's kind of a sad.
It's a sad and stupid thing because I mean, come on, man, just get a ride. I'm all for having fun, having a good time, but you just gotta be a little bit smart and just plan the end of your night. That's all. I mean, if you drive there, you can drive back and get your car. I mean, it's just for someone like that with that financial value and that stature to make those mistakes when I mean, hell, we get rides. People who don't have NFL player salaries are getting rides and being smart about it. So
that's a big slip up.
Just be smart about it, so we can all have fun.
Yep. Well, let's jump right into our picks. First up, we had the Thursday night game of the Packers and Cardinals, and the Packers ended up getting a win, even without their top two receivers.
The top three receivers. The top three receivers lost Tunyon during the game to a torn ACL. He's gone for the year. That was unfortunate. Missing Bakhtiari. We were missing, Jairi. On defense, we were missing Jairi and Kevin King and Zadarius Smith. Man, and we still went into Arizona and were able to beat them by, really, it should have been more than what the score turned out to be. Had a touchdown called back that was short, they say, but, that's up for debate. So
it was short.
So, yeah, the final score should have been 31-21, but luckily, A.J. Green had his controller unplugged mid-play and stopped running his route, which allowed Rasul Douglas, my boy Rasul, to sneak around him and get that game-sealing interception.
I don't know what they've said or care what they said. A.J. Green thought that was a run play, and you cannot tell me anything different.
The Cliff Kingsbury, the Cardinals coach, did come out afterwards and say that there was miscommunication on the play call. So, I don't know, maybe it was just some similar play calls that had different meanings. Something that was just missed in the play call, because they're pretty intricate, the play calls. It's not like just you run a slant, you run it out, everything has a code and all that. So
there was definitely something miscommunicated there, no doubt. But yeah, it was a great game to watch. It was a really close game between two juggernaut teams, and the Packers ended up pulling it off.
Yeah, for even being a depleted team. I mean, that was by far the best coaching win of Matt LaFleur's era so far.
Definitely.
Just in terms of the lack of players and on the short rest. I mean, the suddenness of losing them, isn't like they were injured mid-game. Devontae and Lazard got COVID 2 days before the game. I mean, you don't plan on that happening, so...
No, it was a
hell of a coaching job.
It was an impressive win, and I feel like we will see a very similar matchup in the playoffs later down the road.
That one will be in Lambeau.
Probably, yeah. So, next up, we have the Titans at the Colts, and though there wasn't a ton that happened in this game, it was a great game, really close. The Titans ended up pulling off the win late, but a huge loss. They won, but at what cost? Because they lost Derrick Henry for the season.
Yeah, it's a broken bone in his foot. He had surgery. They say anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks.
But at
more
this
realistic,
point,
8 to 10.
Yeah.
And if you rush him back, I mean, there's high risk of re-aggravation. So, yeah, he might be back during the season, but then it could just, if you don't let him heal properly, and he's just not, then he's going to have troubles during the off season, during training. It's going to nag. I think you just let him heal properly, and best case scenario, maybe get him back for the playoffs. But as far as for fantasy players that drafted him as their first overall pick,
he's sucks. Just done. He's done. But yeah, that really sucks for the Titans, and they did end up pulling off the win. But if we're being dead honest, they did not win that game. The Colts lost that game.
I was gonna say they won the battle but lost the war because of losing Henry.
Oh yeah,
they lost in the long run.
Definitely,
but yeah,
I guess the Colts
right.
Lost that
the Colts
game.
Definitely lost that game.
Between the fourth quarter and overtime, Carson Wentz had 3 interceptions. One of them being the worst pick six I think I've ever seen in my life.
He entered his name in for the worst play in NFL history which has plays along the lines of the famous butt fumble of Mark Sanchez and the Galia Pyramid fake field goal in the Super Bowl for the undefeated Dolphins.
I don't know if we can go quite that far, but it was not good. It was
anyone
not good.
who's throwing a left-handed hook shot from the end zone, either, I don't know, man. I'd say you don't know what sport you're playing. But what's that guy doing out there? I mean,
let's just say mistakes were made in Carson Wentz's thought
and then he
process
comes
on
back
that
and
play.
he hits Michael Pittman in quadruple coverage after Wentz loses his balance and regains his balance by using the ball to regain his balance. So it's like,
because why not?
You're falling over. You place the ball on the ground, on the turf, the thing you're told to never do. Place it to rebalance yourself, recompose yourself, and throw a 60-yard Hail Mary. Just
props to Michael Pittman, though. That kid is going to be a beast.
He's a crisp route runner, and now he's really learning just how to really catch the NFL. And I mean, like going up and high pointing it and, just going up and getting that ball.
Yeah, early second round pick last year out of USC for the Colts. He's going to be real good.
And his dad was a longtime running back for the Buccaneers and he was really good too. I'm going to say like Hall of Famer, but he definitely was a good player. He's been around for a long time. Yeah.
Well, next up, we got the Bengals, who headed to New York to take on the Jets and lost in very embarrassing fashion, to be dead honest. Not because of how they played exactly, but just because they lost to the Jets with their backup quarterback.
I don't know. Yeah, this is with their backup quarterback, but this backup quarterback is someone special. This backup quarterback was Magic Mike effing White Lightning. A name that was tagged by Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee show yesterday when he was talking about the game. I laughed for like 3 minutes because he just kept saying that name. He loved it. I think it's great. That's a hilarious nickname.
It's a pretty good nickname.
Magic Mike effing White Lightning, because he's the first Jets quarterback since the year 2000 to throw for 400 yards in a game. Now, it is quite the milestone, but 400 yards in a game for a quarterback is a pretty uncommon stat. I mean, if you have a pretty decent one, you're going to get some.
That's a pretty good game.
Yeah, but to go that long, I mean, the last time the Jets had a 400-yard passer, the Twin Towers were still standing. It was Vinny Testaverde in the year 2000. Like, how many of us even know who Vinny Testaverde still is? I mean, I do, because I remember him playing back then. But holy shit.
I don't remember him playing, but
I
just know him.
Yeah, I mean, you heard the name, but I've actually seen him play. Like,
that's rough.
That was their last 400-yard passer.
And the craziest thing about this game is the Bengals could have played much better, but the Bengals didn't even necessarily play bad. The Jets just played well, and the biggest thing is that the Bengals made a couple of huge mistakes, and the Jets found a way to capitalize on each and every one of those mistakes, and that
Burrow
was the
had
difference
a critical fourth quarter interception. The Bengals were actually up by 11 with less than 6 minutes left, and let the Jets score 2 touchdowns in less than 6 minutes. Burrow threw a pick that gave him the ball back for the go-ahead touchdown. He actually leads the league in fourth quarter interceptions, which is an odd stat for somebody who's not only had the number 1 seed in the AFC, but was getting talked about in MVP categories or conversations.
That's a big stat, though. Being able to close a game is a big factor in today's NFL. Just one last little quick note about that. I thought it was funny that they scored a 2-point conversion off of the Philly special to Mike White, so that was pretty funny to watch. But
Magic Mike effing White Lightning. You gotta say the whole thing.
This guy. Next up, we got the 49ers, who went to Chicago to face the Bears, and 49ers reasonably decisively won. I mean, it got a little close there towards the end. Or Bears kept it reasonably close throughout the game, but you could just always tell that the 49ers were a little ahead throughout the entire game. But the big reason I wanted to talk about this game is because Justin Fields made easily the best play I have seen this year. By far,
that touchdown run that Fields
touchdown
has,
on
he
fourth
did the Marcus Allen Super Bowl run. I don't know. Again, I'm talking about old school playing, but the Marcus Allen Super Bowl run.
If you need this.
Oh yeah, went around and the wall got cut off, and he turns back around, reverses field, and actually runs on the reverse. He reversed it himself to the end zone, and Justin Fields almost did the same exact thing. It was eerie how similar it almost was. And look, Matt Nagy was out for the game. He had COVID. So their special teams coach, Chris Tabor, he took over head coaching duties and called the plays. And he called the plays for a Justin Fields built playbook. He didn't use an Andy Dalton playbook. So of course Fields looked much better. So they should be using that play. Whoever's calling plays for that day, if it was Tabor, he should be the one calling them, because he apparently saw Justin Fields play at Ohio State. Timeout. Oh, double timeout. Oh. All right, we're back.
Sorry about that. I had to go move my car quick. But next up, we got the Pats, who went to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. And I'm not going to lie, I don't even know the score of this game. I watched none of this game.
You didn't watch any of this game?
No.
I didn't really watch much of it either, but I knew that the Patriots were going to win because Bill Belichick has always beaten the Chargers. And it continues.
The Patriots won?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't even know they won.
Yeah, because Bill Belichick always beats the Chargers. He went in last year to Los Angeles and beat them 45-0 with Cam Newton, who's been blacklisted by the NFL now. And now he goes in there, beats them by 3, 27-24, makes Justin Herbert looking like I was trying to think of a really bad rookie quarterback.
Zach Wilson.
Make him look like Zach Wilson, seeing ghosts out there as Jets quarterback. But he goes in.
It's just a Jets quarterback thing to see ghosts at this point.
Belichick goes in with Mac Jones, a rookie quarterback, is able to beat the Chargers, who were looked at as Super Bowl contenders. AFC West
Personally,
contenders?
not me, but I'd say AFC West contenders.
Especially with the way Herbert played last year. I know people were pretty high on the Chargers.
Yeah, Herbert played
a pretty
lights out.
complete team. So, and the Patriots have been in this rebuild mode since Brady left, but yet they're still able to pull out these victories because Belichick is a really good coach. And that just goes to show right there. And he, for some reason, just has the Chargers numbers.
Yep. Brady greater than Belichick. That's all I gotta say. Or wait. That's not what I have to say. I accidentally flipped that. Belichick greater than Brady.
There we go.
Messed it up. Flipped it right there in my head. You all know what I meant, though.
Yeah, I could never forget the greater than less than signs either.
No, you've just always heard me talk about Brady. I know the greater and less than. See, I just have this funny thing where my brain doesn't always work, is what really happens. So, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, as I mentioned, literally didn't even know who won, so I have nothing to add to that. Next up, we got the Bucks, who went to New Orleans to take on the Saints, and the Saints ate the W. I think that this was pretty well an upset. I think a lot of people thought the Bucks were going to take them out pretty promptly.
Bucks were favored by 6.
Yeah.
Brady is 1-3 against the Saints since going to Tampa Bay. He has like 7 interceptions against them, a couple pick sixes. For whatever reason, the Saints just know how to beat Brady unless it's the playoffs. Because that one win was the playoff game.
But even in that playoff game, he didn't
play very well. No, playoff Lenny won that game. And that defense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The defense, is what I was going to.
So, yeah, and the bad thing about it, unfortunately, is in this game we lost our mascot to a torn ACL. Even though
very, very sad.
The eater of W's can still break it down on crutches. Because after the game, he was on TikTok celebrating on his crutches with one leg out, flipping the crutch behind his back. He started doing like some robot dance with the crutches, and I was like, oh my God, put him out there. He's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine. Give him the crutches. He can. The way he's flipping those things around, he could throw it. He can figure out how to throw it with the crutches. Definitely. I think he could. All he's got to do is be prepared.
His trainer told him to be prepared to play on crutches.
Mm-hmm.
So now he is damn well prepared to play on those crutches.
Well, sometimes all you got to do. What is it you got to do?
You just
got to be prepared, you know?
No, but it was a good win by the Saints. I got to give it to him. This totally destroyed our Saints roller coaster.
It did. I don't even know what it is.
That's
anymore.
pretty well out the window at this point.
Here's what I see.
The bye week started it,
So
and then this Giants game messed
this
with it.
is technically the half point of the season. So it just started over. Whatever the roller coaster we thought we had, that only applied for the first 7 weeks.
I think the bye week is what screwed with it.
And now we're at the game 1 of part 2 of the season, so I don't know.
I think
I don't know.
they're lucky they had
Now they don't have Jameis. So.
They're lucky they had the early bye, because I think that's what ended the roller coaster. I think they would have kept going all year if it wasn't for that bye.
As that win-loss.
Yeah, exactly. So they're lucky that they got that bye to end the roller coaster. But, as I just mentioned, with my disdain for Brady and thinking that Belichick is better, it was fun to watch Brady get an easy win in a 2-minute drill and then lose by throwing a pick six.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, man, we know what happens here. They left him a minute 40 in a timeout, and I was like, what are they doing? I mean, all they needed was a field goal, and yeah, within 3 or 4 plays, he's did that.
As I
pick
say,
six.
it's pretty early, yeah.
And that was it.
Oh man, was it fun to watch?
That don't happen that don't happen very often.
If you're not a Brady fan or a Bucks fan, I'm pretty sure that was pretty well universally enjoyed to see. So yeah, big win for the Saints in that one. Next up, we got the Cowboys, who went to Minnesota to face the Vikings with the man, the myth, the legend, Cooper Rush as their starting quarterback, because Dak was ruled out about an hour before the game.
And here I told him that the Vikings lucked out that night. But then I forgot that this was the Sunday that backups became alphas.
We did not luck out. The funniest part about it is I almost like our odds against the Cowboys with Dak more than with a backup quarterback at this point for some reason. Because now Andy Dalton and Cooper Rush have both, if I'm not mistaken, I think Andy Dalton last year threw for over 300 yards against us and at least a touchdown.
I think so.
So it's just backup Cowboys quarterback, which seemed to be our real kryptonite. But man, was that game annoying to watch. So many...
Timeout.
Stop
Timeout again.
Stop it. We get it. I don't want to think about it.
You can't do that twice in a row.
Of course, you have the Zimmer double timeout, which is a whole debacle by itself. He came out and said that he just messed up, and it was like, oh, no shit. What
Yeah.
yeah. You did that on purpose? You wanted to go into the delayed
It
game?
is kind of too bad because he said that he knew what play they were calling when he saw the offense lined up, and had just kind of forgotten he had just called a timeout.
Yeah.
Which in the moment, I'm sure, that is...
Which I'm not blaming it all on Zimmer. A lot of Vikings fans are very against Zimmer right now. There was a lot of things that happened before that. That was annoying. The play right after that, Anthony Barr easily could have tackled Ezekiel Elliott to stop him short and force the field goal, but instead he just acted like he had never tackled before, and Zeke ran right through him and got the first.
He knows how to break people's collarbones.
Yes, exactly. If he would have gotten a hold of Zeke's collarbone, it would have been an easy tackle. But no, but there were so many things you could point at that game. Justin Jefferson was hurt, I think, for almost the...
Yeah, I noticed he
had
was shaken
a
up
minor
a couple
injury,
times.
but he had an overall pretty bad game even before he had that minor injury. I'm still on Zimmer's side. I've been on Zimmer's side. I'm still on Zimmer's side a little. Not where I overly like him, but I don't want him fired. But this game was really a blow to my confidence in him. And if he doesn't come out next week against the Ravens and just really turn the ship around and make us look good, it might be the death of him. I don't know if we'll fire him during the season. We might wait till the end of the season. But if he doesn't get something going soon, I don't like his odds of being a Minnesota Vikings coach next year.
Unfortunately, the time mismanagement and timeout debacle is a bad black eye on any coaching staff, especially as a head coach.
Yeah, especially considering he only has one good eye.
Right, that too.
So a black eye might be bad for him. He could lose his eye entirely. Like, you got to watch out for that.
And then you're really going to have troubles with that coach. You can't see.
For real, that'd be rough. But it was just, man, was that an annoying game to watch. Of course, I said it, I think it was one of our first podcast episodes. I mostly jokingly said, watch, now Zimmer will fix our defense with all the free agents we signed, and then our offense will go through a huge regression. And I guess I shouldn't have said that because that's kind of what's happening right now. Our defense went from just getting absolutely destroyed every game to only allowing an average of about low 20 points a game, I think. And our offense went from averaging mid 30 points a game to averaging probably also low 20s a game.
So your offense matches your defense in points per games allowed.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Greg Joseph is the decider. And then
God.
we know about our kicking situation,
Well, yeah.
so that's really where it goes downhill. But yeah, I still have faith. I could still definitely see us turning the season around, but
You're still the 7, or no, you're the 8, but you're right
we're
outside
the
of that
8th
7
seed, but the 7th seed is the Panthers, who we now own the tiebreaker against. So
Mhm.
I still like
You
our
still
odds.
sneak in.
I still like our odds of sneaking into the playoffs. I don't know how far we'll go. I still have faith, but man, this is messing with my mental health being a freaking Vikings season this year, man. It has been up and down, left and right, crying happy. It's just been a roller coaster. But
Been
there's
wide left, too short.
wide left, exactly. So there's my little Vikings rant. Props to Cooper Rush. Props to the Cowboys. Man, is that a talented team, even without Dak.
Yeah. I'm glad they don't have a good coach. That'd be really scary.
That'd be a scary, scary team.
That talent is literally just winning that.
So, finally, we got the Monday night game. The Giants, who went to Kansas City and nearly beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs just barely outlasted them. I believe the score was 20-17.
20-17.
So, where do the Chiefs
Again,
fall?
the Chiefs were shut out in the second half, touchdown-wise. They got 2 field goals in the second half. That's it.
I just cannot.
It was 14-7 at halftime. Now, not to make this look negative on the Giants, but the Chiefs being a Super Bowl contending team should not be struggling with the Giants. Not like that.
No.
I mean,
Especially in Kansas City.
in Kansas City, that should be a game you're winning by 10, 14 points. Or maybe in one of those games where the score looks closer, but you dominated. You know, one of those kind of games. Because in the NFL, there's no real... It's not very often you get those huge blowout wins, you know.
No.
And they happen, but I say the score doesn't always show the dominance of the game. I look at how the game was played. Were you able to control the ball? Were you able to gain the yards? Or, you know... And they struggled. I mean, really, the Giants had a chance to win it.
They really did. The Giants had more than a chance to win.
They had a
probably
couple
should
chances,
have won it.
and yeah, they could have. They got called on a bullshit taunting penalty for the Giants celebrating a first down.
Later in the drive,
negated it.
Later in the drive, where the Chiefs got the go-ahead field goal, they had an awful face mask penalty on one of the Giants against Travis Kelce, which just wasn't a face mask.
No,
like I don't know what they saw, but
it's just. I feel like the NFL is doing that thing where they try to get their superstar teams, you know, like oh
it's
my God, we cannot
like that.
have
I'm not gonna lie.
Mahomes, the face of the NFL, go and lose on Monday Night Football. I'm guilty of it. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers are a superstar team. I know.
Oh, I know.
I know. I've heard it. I've heard
it.
that we get favorable calls.
Illegal hands to the face against the Lions.
Illegal hands to the face.
One of the craziest
right
things I've ever
right
seen.
Here.
But I'm still not going to call the Chiefs a bad team. But it's kind of the same situation where I'm in, where I'm still saying don't fire Zimmer, but he's really playing with fate. I'm not calling the Chiefs a bad team, but they're really playing with fate.
I don't know if I call them a good team.
Because they're not looking like a good team.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way
That's
to put
what I mean.
it.
They're struggling to win against the lower tier competition. Again, no offense to the Giants, but they are. The Giants are a rebuilding type of team. Even though they do have a very good defense. You did point it out that they have a pretty good defense. They got some players on there. The offense is quite young. Not a whole lot of real superstars. You know, not sure what Daniel Jones is quite yet. But so that's when as a rebuilding young team, that's the team that the Chiefs should be winning games by, 24-10. Or like they did against Washington, where it was 31-13.
Yeah.
But, again, they were down at halftime. It took an offensive explosion for them to pull away from the football teams.
Yeah.
The Washington football teams.
It's my last note on it, or kind of the way I look at it, is if you're looking at expectation versus reality, the Chiefs are probably one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. Like, the gap from where they are to what they could be.
There was someone who tweeted
gap.
something today that said, the Chiefs are what the national media hoped the Packers would be.
When Rodgers,
yeah,
that's a
like,
good point. I didn't even thought about that.
They're like, no, wrong team. To have all this distraction and disarray with, like.
So next up we got a kind of new thing. We decided that we were running dangerously close to running way over time on a bunch of our prior episodes. In fact, we actually recorded this episode once already, and it was over 50 minutes. And
Yeah, we weren't even done yet. We had hit
we just decided that wasn't how we should do it. So what we decided was going to, for our recap and for our preview, we're going to put some of the kind of like not marquee games or like games where a ton didn't happen in a section that we're going to call quick kicks, where we just kind of all knock them out really fast. So we still tell you the score, who won, a little information on the game, but you don't have to watch a 50-minute episode twice a week to know it. So first up for our first official quick kick, we got the Panthers, who went to Atlanta to take on the Falcons and ended up winning the game 19-13, I believe. Sam Darnold looked better than he has been, but then promptly entered concussion protocol, and we're going to see his fate for next week. And Calvin Ridley literally retired before
the game.
He put out an announcement.
Stepping away to focus on his mental health, severe depression and anxiety, which, shows that it can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter if you're an NFL superstar or a 9-to-5 day job person.
It's a real thing. It's
mental health
scary.
is a real thing, and it can affect anyone. And the best thing is to just try to get yourself in the best mindset to not only make yourself better, but things better around you.
Yep. So, I think he'll come back, but
I do think he will come back, but
not anytime soon. I'd say probably
I think he'll take the rest of this year off and come back maybe next training camp with hopefully a healthier mindset, and he gets in a better place because.
I agree.
Just because, man, that sucks.
Next up, we have the Dolphins at the Bills. The Dolphins held it pretty close for most of the game, but the Bills ended up pulling away at the end. The Bills won that AFC East matchup there. After that, we got an AFC North matchup with the Steelers and the Browns, and the Steelers ended up kind of shocking the Browns. The Browns got some of their starters back, but they're still a little hurt, but the Steelers played well.
Baker's still playing with a torn labrum.
Still playing with that.
I think that's affecting him.
Najee is continuing to make his case for Rookie of the Year, so it's been fun watching him. After that, we got the Eagles at the Lions. The Eagles had their good team show up, their Pack A show up, and they played really well. Almost shut out the Lions until late in the game. They ended up getting the win in Detroit. And man, what are the Lions doing?
I have no idea what the Lions. I don't think Dan Campbell is very good football coach in terms of schematics and scheme, play calling. It doesn't seem like the players are really buying into that scheme or executing it well. I think he's a fantastic hype man.
Very much.
I would love to see him and Muscle Milk on the same team, because that would be the most hyped sideline I've ever seen, ever. It'd be a lot of fun.
Muscle Milk being the Northwestern strength and conditioning coach.
Yep.
You should look him up.
Just look
He's
him up.
hilarious.
Northwestern strength and conditioning coach.
He's like Dan Campbell on crack. It's the craziest thing
and
ever.
Muscle, steroided out.
He is jacked.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think.
So that'd be a lot of fun to watch those two.
Yeah.
That'd probably be the best thing to happen for Detroit.
Probably. That's a good point. I think Lions get a win eventually, but not this week.
And the Eagles put Miles Sanders on injured reserve and then run the ball for a season high. So try to figure that out. I don't know what Sirianni's doing either, but it worked for him this time.
That is some Nick Sirianni stuff right there. Rams at Texans was a pretty decisive win by the Rams. The Texans tried to make it look pretty close late, but if you watch the game, you know that the Rams won that.
The Texans were able to cover the spread with a late touchdown and 2-point conversion. And that was all they wanted to do, was just cover the spread.
That's all they needed to do. Get that Rams special teams coordinator out of there. He needs to be gone.
That's right, yeah. They had to cover an onside kick. For the second week in a row, the Rams had an onside kick converted on them.
Yep. Next up, we got the Jags, who went to Seattle to just get absolutely destroyed by the Seahawks. DK Metcalf had 2 touchdowns. And I'm going to start handing out a weekly award of the head slap of the week. And the Jags earned it this week by kicking an extra point and then after that kicking an onside kick. They need to make the decision to either give up or go for the win, and they were smited by the football gods by having the Seahawks return that said onside kick on them and score again.
Don't wave the white flag and keep, say you're just going to, take your ball and go home, and then try to be snaky and to kick an onside kick. Be aggressive, try to get the ball back.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it's like it's as crazy as going to a bar and sticking your hand down some 21-year-old's pants. I mean, who the hell does that?
Who would do that? What a weirdo.
That gets another head slap. Like the Jaguars are just going to be the head slap moment every time.
They're just the Jaguar of the week,
Yeah.
not the head slap of the week. And for our final quick kick, we got the football team going to Denver and losing to the Broncos. And again, I did not watch much of this game.
No,
You got any big facts?
This was our, we're going to call it our London game of the week, where we pick the worst game of the week, and we give that game for the London fans to watch.
Yep, because that's what
and
the NFL
This
does.
was this week's game, the football team versus the Broncos, who just traded Von Miller away. The football team, obviously, is a young team, kind of underachieving this year a little bit. I think people expect them to do better. I don't know what the Broncos are doing, because in the AFC West, they could still be won by them, because the Chiefs are, who knows. The Chargers are, who knows. The Raiders have a chaotic event every week. Every other week, I'm sorry. Every other week. Gotta go easy there. So, I don't know. I don't know what Denver's trying to do. It's like one day they want to build for the future, and then the next day they want to win. So, I don't know. They'll end up winning. Either them or the Raiders will win the AFC West, just because they're the two most least likely to do it.
Because why not? That's pretty much the slogan of this NFL season, because why not?
Mm-hmm.
But that is our Week 8 recap. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, don't forget
To eat the W.